In this video, I want to talk about Alex Hormozi and how he's completely wrong. Now, don't get me wrong. I've learned a lot from the man himself. Loved $100 million offers. Loved most part of $100 million leads. But I think there was one key part within that book that was inherently wrong. In all transparency, I believe his recommended way of running paid advertising campaigns is utterly outdated and needs to be updated with new information accurate to today's world. Look, it's no secret that one, this book had started to be written a couple of years ago, so we already know that some of these techniques might not be fully accurate to today. Second thing is we also know that Hormozi really peaked with his ads at gym launch a few years ago. So with that said, a lot of these techniques discussed were what worked for him back then, but might not be what worked for you today. I want to be crystal clear, I'm specifically talking about paid ads here. A lot of Hormozi's book focused on the fundamentals, focused on volume, focused on the different channels and methods by which you can reach out to potential customers and get leads. Which that, nothing wrong about it. All of it is entirely true. At least I've also followed a lot of this pathway myself when building my business. But now when it comes to running paid ads, I think this is a spot where he might have shot himself in the foot by going really in depth. He went in depth about the campaign structure you should be using, who you should be targeting, and I think this is where there's a disagreement. And I want to talk today about why you might want to do something different. If you don't know who I am, my name is Justin and I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com, an agency elevating thriving businesses by simplifying online marketing. Over the last 3 years, my agency spent profitably over $10 million on ads on the behalf of our customers. Let's take Facebook ads as an example because that was a platform discussed in the book. What do you want to do today, or what am I doing today as I'm actively still spending millions a year in advertising? Well, we want to go broad. You want to expand your audience from the start. You also want to have a very simple campaign structure on Facebook. Why? Well, for two reasons. One, Facebook is a trillion-dollar company that has billions of data points about their users, about essentially advertisers, and they know who to target. That's one thing. Second thing, AI. If you didn't know already, Facebook uses a lot of AI-based features to find you the right customers. How do they do that? Every ad that you upload to Facebook, Facebook has access to many data points about your ad. As an example, imagine you took a screenshot right now of this current video, this current frame that you're seeing. What would Facebook be able to tell you? They'd be able to tell you that, hey, this is a man. He's a white man. He's got brown hair. He wears a brown polo. There's background colors, there's orange, there's blue, there's a plant in the background, there's a microphone at the forefront, the guy has blue eyes. So they know all those elements just by looking at a video. Not only that, everything that is coming out of my mouth is also transcribed on Facebook. On their back end, they have captions. They know what I'm saying. So they know all the words coming out of my mouth as well as everything in this current frame. So taking that information, they also know the same thing about you, the user. So if you do end up browsing Facebook and you scroll, Facebook will start learning these same patterns of you. They know that Jeff, as an example, primarily clicks on ads that shows woman. Not only woman with blonde hair. Not only woman with blonde hair, but whenever the predominant color in the picture is blue, Jeff clicks more. They know all these things so that if the right picture or the right elements in a frame appear on your feed, it's probably because Facebook believes that you are more likely to be taking action from this ad. So Hormozi's approach doesn't work because what he specifically recommends in the book is that you target lookalike audiences and that you target specific interest audiences. So here's two things about these style of audiences. One, when you look at interest-based audiences, well, first and foremost, interest-based audiences was a pilot project that stopped being updated as of 2018. Meaning over the last 5 years, there hasn't been any new people added to these interests. Also, meaning that a big portion of these interests is wrong. Why? Well, it was proven in another podcast episode I did with Charlie, a guy that essentially generated over $1 billion from advertising and owns many different online brands. Basically, Charlie was part of that beta group. And what we discussed in that podcast episode was that Facebook, in the way that they get whoever should be part of an interest, looks at many different data points, such as online comments. But what are you more likely to speak about online? Stuff that you liked or stuff that you disliked? Well, a lot of people, which is assumed to be about a third of the people with an interest stack, are not supposed to be there because they voiced out their opinion against a specific topic, but were mistakenly added as if they were part of that interest stack. So that's one of the reasons why you wouldn't want to use interest-based audiences. The second reason why you wouldn't want to use interest-based audiences is because it really narrows down your targeting pool, which usually creates a bottleneck at scale. So if you're just starting out spending a couple dollars on ads, you might have okay results with interest because you're showing an ad specifically down somebody's throat. You're like, look, this is the ad for you. But at scale, there's not enough people in such an audience to power your advertising message, right? Not only that, you'll have to broaden naturally your advertising message, which is why you can go very narrow. Let's say I'm running an ad to advertising agencies. I can call out advertising agencies in my ad, specifically target advertising agencies, and I'll know for a fact my message is going to hit the right person. But what if I want to spend more now on ads, right? What if my market starts to broaden? I have to really go and attack what's called a mass market desire. I have to go about something bigger, something that moves more people. And for that, an interest stack just won't do it. And at scale, if you end up needing to change your entire ad account structure to broaden up your audiences, chances are you'll negatively impact your ad results for quite a few weeks, even months at a time, just because you didn't properly set up your audiences from the start. So that's one thing about interest. First and foremost, lookalikes are based off of a specific subset of data. Keep in mind, let's say you upload a list of your customers. Facebook is going to be unable to match a very big portion of this list. In fact, about 80 to 90% of this list is not going to be able to be matched to any profile on Facebook. Why is that? Because the adoption rates of iOS users who opted out from being able to be tracked by platforms like Facebook just cannot be matched to a simple email and name. So that in itself is going to remove a lot of people that you would traditionally be able to use as a lookalike audience. Now, what if you tell me, well, Justin, how about I make a lookalike from anybody who went on my website as an example? Isn't Facebook already able to track these people? Yes and no. You need a very big pool of people on your website. You need statistical evidence because yet again, a lot of the people that Facebook will indeed send to your website, Facebook's not able to track them properly because yet again, they opted out of being tracked since iOS. So with that being said, you will still lose a ton of people in that data and you need a very big pool of data, first of all, to create a lookalike audience from such essentially a data source, right? You can't just do so with 1,000 people. You would ideally need a solid 10,000 events or more for Facebook to have enough statistical evidence to create a strong lookalike audience. But then yet again, if you end up going with a lookalike audience, it will negatively impact you at scale. Because once again, at scale, you need to go broader and it wouldn't work. And what works instead is going broad from the start. You essentially stop to try and over control everything on Facebook. You let the algorithm do its thing. You go one campaign, you go DCTs, so every ad set that you have under that campaign, you turn on what's called a dynamic creative test. And essentially in your targeting, the only things you will want to change are the following: demographics and geographics. So you change whatever that person is, so male or female, age range, and you change essentially, you can also change the language, and you change geographically speaking where they're at. You don't add any interest, you don't add any lookalikes, any custom audiences, you just leave it at that. One, you ensure that the actual customers you want to target in the right country, state, or city are being targeted. So great, you narrow it down geographically. Number two, you ensure the right gender or demographics are targeted. So you ensure your ads are actually shown to people that are likely to convert. Great. Why don't you go in depth with interest? Because you let Facebook's AI do its thing. You let it find the right people based on whatever is within your ad content. And what does that unlock? Well, first of all, usually for a lot of businesses, they spend about half, if not more, of their time in the ads manager trying to tweak their different audiences, trying to test new campaign structure. That is adding a lot of stress to the platform. Facebook has an article called the Meta Performance 5. They recommend you simplify your account structure. Not only that, they keep on releasing new features that they brand under the Advantage Plus term. So nowadays, if you use an Advantage Plus campaign for e-commerce brand as an example, you can't even target people anymore and they removed ad sets completely. So the only thing you're left with is a campaign and a bunch of ads under that campaign that are being completely shown to whoever Facebook thinks is going to convert. Why is Facebook moving that way? Because in other words, they're subtly trying to tell you, stop messing with our algorithm, we got you. Think about it that way once more. Look at Facebook as a partner. They are a partner of your business. and they want what's best for you, but you also should want what's best for them. What is best for an advertising partner? I'm going to give you an example. If you had a physical billboard, what would it be best for the company who owns the billboard and puts their logo also near the billboard, right? Because whatever you put on that billboard represents the company. If you put an ad about sex as an example, well, obviously it might not be good business for that billboard. But what if you're compliant? What if you go with their terms? What if you put something, in fact, they really like, something that promotes you, but also healthily promotes the platform? Aren't they going to be more likely to promote it? Well, that's the whole concept around giving more control to Facebook from their targeting perspective. They will like you more because you give them more freedom to do whatever they want with your ad, which usually needs to be in your best interest because, hey, they want to keep you spending as a customer. And to do that, they need to get you results. So it's a win-win situation for the both of you. You get rewarded with lower CPMs and better targeting because Facebook essentially is handling it. And thirdly, you also recoup a very big portion of your time because now your time is primarily spent at the creative level, researching about your market, ideating on new creative concepts. And again, this is a win to Facebook because they have more control over how the health of the platform would work. Now, I know this might sound like a broad topic. I know this is like very educational, but how do you put that into practice? How do you actually do that into the ads manager? Well, first of all, I got tons of free videos on YouTube showing you exactly step by step how I go through uploading a campaign from start to finish and how I structure my ad account. So that's one. Second thing, in our free school community listed down below, I also go in depth about my research process and my entire creative process. So now how did I allocate some of the extra time I had spent on media buying back to the creative and research process? So you can also check this out down below to learn more about the nitty-gritty of this process. With that being said, one more time, I have nothing to say but good things about Hormozi. Again, this is just a difference in opinion about the methodology when it comes to advertising. I think he has a lot of great concepts in his books. I've learned a lot from him. I think he's an amazing businessman. But when it came to talking about the nitty-gritty of ads, I just really think that what was in the book was outdated and that you should really look at what's working now and not what was working back then. Once again, what I always say in these videos is the fundamentals remain. The way you attract an audience, the way you gain eyeballs, never changed in 100 years. That's always been the same methods, which I also talk about in our free school community. What does change is the way you might leverage an online platform that changes ever so rapidly like Facebook. And this is why I made today's video. So on that note, check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.